Hello, good morning everyone. I am Sayalee and I am live right now as discussed in the morning for the generatiONE EP-1 with KIRTI POONIA. I have logged in just 2-3 minutes before the episode to check the connectivity and the audio quality. If you guys are online, if you can hear me, please confirm about the video quality and the audio quality both. If there is any feedback, we would take it and we would try to adjust it before Kirti joins us. It's going to be next 2-3 minutes that she will come and join us. For people who do not have an idea about this initiative, recently at the Women Transforming India Awards by Niti Aayog and United Nations in Delhi, I met a lot of entrepreneurs and heard a lot of stories. That is when I thought that maybe bringing these entrepreneurs on Aadya's platform and having a chat with them will inspire a lot of people who are trying to start something on their own. And that is the intention behind this initiative. I'm just going to check with the team if Kirti has joined the live. So can we send her a request to come in the live session so that just request her. Yeah?
She's with us.
Yes. Hello, hi, good morning Kirti.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Am I clear? Can you hear me clearly? Are you able to hear me?
Am I audible, Kirti?
Yes, completely audible. Am I audible?
Yes, same here. You're looking very pretty.
Likewise, I love your sari.
Thank you. Same here. I am so excited to talk to you on this platform. I think this is the first time we are going to chat face to face for the first time. So I'm really excited.
Right, absolutely. I'm super excited as well. I think, my favorite part about awards is actually meeting other amazing people. And that is what I gain the most out of any award. You are the awards in my life.
So nice of you to start our chat with that. So I think the whole intention behind this was to build a very strong tribe of our entrepreneur friends and people who have made something on their own, so that a lot of people who are scared, who constantly keep thinking whether it will work or not, whether I should try or not. I think the whole intention behind this exercise is hope. And I totally believe in it personally also. So thank you first of all so much for taking out time, for being so good to us from the moment we asked you whether you would like to do this interview. And thank you for being here. Most welcome. I would actually like to start the interview. We would like to know a bit about you. Can you just tell us about your initial journey? Where do you come from? What is your background? What is your education? Just a bit about yourself.
Okay, great. So I'm an army kid. I grew up traveling across the country. I always wanted to be a designer. I think when kids were drawing mountains and the sun and the lake, I used to make fashion models and I used to do color combinations on those fashion models. And this is at the age of 3 and 4, right? But I was always a very good kid, and hence I did software engineering. And then, of course, I started a very corporate career. I was working in technology for a little bit, and then I joined the Tata Administrative Service, known as TAS. I didn't go to a business school, so I was homeschooled in business at Tata. And, when Okhai happened, it was not like I was, not like I was taking the role. I was actually just as a consultant looking at what Okhai should do in the future. And I did a 3-month assignment to go into the villages and really figured out what Okhai should do. In 3 months, I fell in love with it. I realized that this is what I always wanted to do as a child. This is my expertise. This is what I can grow. And so I think I never left. The consulting assignment never ended. And at that that time, we were about 300 women. In a year, I think we'd crossed 1,000 women. And then right before the pandemic, we crossed 2,300 women. And during the pandemic, we grew from 2,300 to 27,000, which
That's
is
huge.
exponential. And we pivoted the whole business model as well. So essentially, I'm somebody who enjoys business quite a lot. Uh, I love uh, I love design, but I love business, right? I think the thrill of building something new excites me so much. So hence, like we all know now that I'm building a new company called ReLove.
Yes. So it is such an inspiring story, Kirti, that
I can hear you.
yeah, I think there was some slight glitch. So I was just saying that it is such an inspiring story, uh, almost unbelievable that during the pandemic, uh, you have come to a stage where there are 27,000 artisans now associated with Okhai, and that's something which is just out of dreams. I mean, people have inspiring journeys, but most of the times they are their own journeys. But in your case, the journey is just not about yourself. It's about a huge community. It's about so many people. It's about so many people's lives, their families. So really kudos to you to kind of, build this up. But my question, I want to take you a bit back as to, I read about your story that you started Okhai and its website, the e-commerce part of Okhai.
I
Um,
also did, and they were already making some products, and they were already selling it in the market. So essentially, I took it from a responsibility or a CSR initiative to e-commerce website.
Yeah. So actually, my question was about this e-commerce website idea that you had for Okhai. What I feel is somewhere in our childhood, there is a germ of entrepreneurship that we have. So I want to ask you at this stage of our chat that was there any germ in your childhood or in your interactions at school or engineering college where you thought, I want to do something on my own, and then maybe this happened along the way? Was there
So
any germ like that?
no, I never had entrepreneurship dream. It was not the most important thing to me. The most important thing to me is to create good solutions for the planet. And if I create it with a corporate or with another startup or with a company or on my own, it doesn't matter to me. I think I want to create something, and if that ecosystem is available, anywhere else, I will still do it.
Lovely. So my next question is about Okhai's journey itself. Um, I have personally been a buyer of Okhai for almost 4 years now. And I used to actually take that site and go to so many people after I received my first product saying that this is such good quality product. Please check it out. Please check it out. I want to know that I have seen a very conscious effort by you and your team on Okhai's handle to constantly bring out the stories of people who make your products rather than constantly making it a typical e-commerce or a product selling Instagram handle. I've always found out that you have always insisted on talking about people who are making it. Even the website, the first image you'll have is a bright smile with an artisan who is showcasing a product. And I think that impacted me a lot. So, what was your thought behind this storytelling? Because I think that is something that I have really related with Okhai. I've done the same on Aadyaa from day one. That I've always spoken about the story of why we want to do this.
So I'll be very honest, there was no strategy because us time pe to strategy banana aata hi nahi, right? we just knew that we had products and we had amazing artisans who we knew individually as people because we were working so closely with them, right? Um, so it was only natural that if we were posting products and if we were posting ourselves, we would also post them, right?
Yeah.
And because everyday conversations brought out something new and interesting and amazing from them, we would just simply share it. Then I realized that it was actually something that people were noticing was a great strategy. So we realized that, okay, we should reinforce that and we should post that even more because that's something people are liking. And so we started making a conscious effort that, oh, we should not forget our original content, right? Um, but it was natural and it was happening because we were sitting there all day. Uh, and there had to be some beautiful stories that would come out. But if I talk about, the need to do that today, uh, it is very serious, right? Because if you have a transparent wall and you can't see where the products are coming from, uh, and you no longer can actually vouch for the authenticity and the wages that the artisans are making, people are not going to purchase from there, you know. So it's very important to name those artisans, to give them an identity.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really love the way you honestly put it out that it was organic, and once you realize that it is people are relating to it, you kind of focused on it, and it is so inspiring. And I think for people who are watching it, it is very very important to also note this that now that Okhai is very successful, you started another successful venture. Even after that, you're extremely honest about how organic things were when you started off in your first venture. I'm going to come to your next venture. I have read so much about it in last 4 to 5 days. I was doing my research and I have myself come to understand an importance of your venture ReLove. But I'm not going to talk about you. I'm going to hand it over to you, and I'm going to first ask you, before you talk about the venture, what actually triggered this idea in you, because it's such a genuine idea to start that venture.
So, working in fashion and producing a lot every day, um, whatever may be the reason, right? There is a certain guilt that we have when you run a fashion company and you want to produce more and sell more, right? And you are noticing behaviors of customers who are trying to buy every single piece for every single new event in their life. So, at the same time, I started to understand the climate crisis, and I realized that it is a lot more serious than the social crisis, right? Unemployment is large, but if we don't do something about the climate crisis right now, we are headed for doom, and we will not be able to solve that problem. So actually, before ReLove, we started to solve the same problem in plastic, and we set up a refill system across Mumbai to fill bottles of shampoo, conditioner, your detergent, refill them, clean the bottles, and actually send them back to people.
Yeah.
Then we realized that why not deploy the same circular economy in fashion, and so the idea of ReLove came in after we actually deployed it in personal care. Um, it's a solution where it's a perfect example of using capitalism to solve the environment crisis. Because if you're focusing only on environmentalism and you're not going to give good solutions to companies, it's very difficult for them to change. But if there is a good solution, companies are very easily intending to adopt it because everyone is realizing what's happening. So I've gone from selling, focusing on selling to focusing on not selling and telling people don't buy or telling people don't manufacture. I've gone to the different direction, but at the same time, I understand that brands need to grow, right? And how can I give them a very innovative model to continue to grow, continue to acquire new customers, but sustainably? So ReLove is really that coming together of all those problems into a solution.
Yeah. I mean, I was zapped reading at the numbers, looking at the pictures that you've been sharing on the social media, in the articles that have been written about ReLove, and I myself, I think, will be very conscious in my next purchases, and I'm sure it will create an impact on everybody who tries to read about it. I would now like to understand how actually ReLove works. What is the venture all about, and how it is integrated so seamlessly with the brands that you're working with?
So it's actually a really simple process. Um, we reach out to brands, or brands reach out to us, and we have a quick 30-minute call how it works. Um, and then it gets embedded on the brand's own website, which makes the brand circular. Um, we handle all the tough parts, which means that customer care, operations, logistics, everything between the buyer and the seller is handled by us, which makes the solution very adoptable for a brand that has the right intention but may not have the extra manpower to do something circular. Um, we ensure the entire process between the buyer and the seller is smooth. I must mention that my co-founder is, one of the top 100 engineering product managers in the country. So he's built an excellent solution. I wouldn't have built it alone. And I think having him on the journey and using technology to solve this problem has made it much easier to solve.
I was going to come to that. That was my next question. I read about him in the article when I read about ReLove also. And I was going to ask, this is not particularly a very, very professional question, but I was going to ask you about this journey also, that how do people, you at Okhai, he at Haptic, both of you all, how you guys came together to start this venture? You, I think, are life partners also and business partners also. So how did you, kind of decide to work together on this, and does it work?
Okay, so we met at a co-founder dating event in which people go and meet each other, and then they see what skill sets they have and what skill sets the other person has, and then they are supposed to start a company together. So it was right here in Bombay. They'd hired one of these tall HSBC buildings. On there to support one of the co-founders of the event, and he'd come to support his friend who was the other co-founder of that event. I think our marriage was the only startup that came out of that event. At the time, we knew, that we got along really well, and we had a similar value system. More than anything else, and you should marry someone who has a value system like yours, right? And then everything else becomes easy because your decision making is always based on your value system. And if a husband and wife share that, every day becomes very easy, right? So without an intention of immediately starting a company, we've been married for over 3 years now. And he, post Haptics, I think, exit with Reliance, and he was really thinking that now he wanted to use technology for good, So let's solve the climate change issues with technology. And at the same time, I was looking at doing something new, because after a certain point in time, once an organization is set, it has to do the same thing every day and the same thing every year. And it's matured, and it's, sort of become empowered on its own. And that was our intention for Okhai all this while, that it's a non-profit organization. The artisans should know how to, make it last 100 years. and hence our approach to leading the company was always decentralized. Um, so both of us, first started Restore because we were living in Goa, and we saw so much garbage on the beach, and it really motivated us to solve the plastic problem. And then I think I saw a video of a sari on a beach being pulled out of Mahi beach. And I was like, no, we think we are giving our garments to somebody, but they may be throwing it or they may be selling it. Uh, we have no way to stop this. So let's develop a good solution.
Yeah. And such a fabulous solution. I am so glad I was reading about all the award winners, and when I read about your initiative, I was really, inspired, and I really wanted to know in detail. Hardly I knew that we are going to interact on this platform for Generation One, and then I would come to know about so much, also about the story behind this particular thought. And I really, really wish that more and more brands subscribe to what you're trying to do, including brands like us. I hope we very soon comply with your technical requirements, and we also kind of try to be part of the system that you're trying to create. I think it's going to really, really help all of us in long term. So that's a really, really good thing. Congratulations to you both for starting this up. My next question actually is about family, not just husband and wife, but your parents, his parents. And my question is that how much does it matter to you, or is their validation important in your entrepreneurial journey, since Okhai, even now for ReLove, or whatever you go on to do in your life? How important is family's validation, or them being around for you in this journey?
Very important because we have a very inclusive approach. Um, we like to include our entire family, in whatever we are doing and discussing what we are doing. They may not agree. That may be the case, right? Um, but taking them along on the journey is very important, right? Because there will be many times that you'll have no one to talk to, and suddenly you want to share a problem with someone. If they are not along with you on that journey, you will not be able to share. So I think right now nobody thinks this is a great idea. That me and my husband both, started something scratch at this point in our life. Uh, I'm sure they have their stress in the matter. I think we are convinced because we are including them in the conversation on a daily basis and helping them understand so that even they are not that.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually asked that question because I come from a very typical Maharashtrian family where most occasions they always wear or prefer to wear gold jewelry. And so when I did the first few samples for silver jewelry, although my family was quite okay with the venture by then, um, they had their doubts looking at the jewelry, and they said, do you actually think that people will wear a nut in silver? Do you actually think that people will wear a kudi in silver? And they had the questions. They were valid questions at that point. And this is the reason I always ask fellow entrepreneurs this question: that how do you actually handle these conversations? Because sometimes they can get a bit difficult. And what happens is, because we come from a very family oriented upbringing, it also influences your decisions a lot. So how have you kind of, because I have changed my decision making in a good way over last few years, uh, because now what I do is, when I know that I have taken a decision for the business, I usually just pass it on in the family, where I know that there might be questions. So do you handle it the same way, or do you still kind of from the initial day, do you still discuss everything that you've been thinking about?
No, I don't. I think their fields are very different. Half of them are doctors and half of them are the army, right? My mother's probably the only designer, so I would definitely, take uh, information from her because she would know exactly how many degrees the seam should be for it to be easier. Uh, when it comes to love, it's so tech based and so novel that it's not something that they are even comprehending right now. They're like, okay, this is something, it's interesting, something happen. um, so no, not in decision making, but what I include them in is the celebration. So if there is a success that happens, or if there is a highest of sales that happens, or if there is a new brand launching, I think I include them in the celebration. And finally, I have learned that whenever anyone is giving you a suggestion, you must just listen and then, you know, don't react to it. I don't react immediately that this is a bad suggestion. And then I in this one thing, which my mother only taught me. Said, "Suno sabki aur karo apni."
Correct.
Eventually, I'm making my own decision at the end of it. But yeah, I want to say that they found your life, the details to your because through the Maharashtrian network, they knew somebody who knew you that a Maharashtrian woman is going. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I just lost you on the last line.
I just said that they were very happy that Maharashtrian lady is going to.
I'm so glad. I always get that. I hope this image changes in a few years, that a lot of Maharashtrian people are so scared to start their businesses, and I just hope that this changes in a few years time and a lot of Maharashtrians get into businesses and start businesses without without feeling scared of taking risks, because that is a typical case with a lot of Maharashtrians. Uh, we have covered your journey, but I still have a few questions, which are probably fun questions also, but which are very important also. In my entire journey of entrepreneurship, I've always thought that there are points when an entrepreneur is very lonely. You'll always have your team to work with you, you'll always have your family, you'll always have every kind of support. But then there come moments when you are like really very lonely. Like in my case, the entire pandemic 2 years, although I was continuously working with my team, starting initiatives, shifting studios, even then there were so many moments when I was really lonely, and I always thought nobody around is sensing what is happening to me right now. This fear of what is going to happen tomorrow to my venture, whether I'll be able to pay salaries, whether I can pay the rent. All this actually made me very lonely. Did that happen to you during the pandemic, or maybe even before that, when there was any kind of crisis or any particular moment when you felt like that?
I have actually not felt all. There are two reasons for this. One is because I very strong peer network of founders who are doing something like that, right? So we pick up the phone and we call each other up and we actually get a chance to discuss our business and its problems. Because there are many things like you're dealing with some issue at work, you can't discuss. You can always discuss with a sounding board. So I think we built that sisterhood of people running similar companies. Second thing has been that I've always had a very decentralized and inclusive approach towards decision making in the company, which means that every department head, every person leading anything has a lot of power to recommend, decide, problems that they are facing. Oh, somebody's saying I'm not audible.
Yeah, I think the voice is breaking slightly.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll just change my location. Great. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, this is better. This is better.
I'm just going to move out. I think this place has less network. Great. Can you hear me?
No, again, I think it has gone.
Oh, no. Can you hear me now?
Yes, this is much better.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, so you were talking about the second reason where you said that you have decentralized the decision making.
Yes. And that's really helped me, make sure that everyone is inclusive and everyone is taking their own decisions of their departments. And pressure leader to be whole decision is less. Yeah, I hold my phone in the hand. Yeah, I have to hold the phone because when I'm keeping it down, it's creating like a issue.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I'm just gonna go back in because it's really hot outside.
Great. So yeah, I think to summarize your answer, which also is a big lesson for me when you have said this, that we need to uh, decentralize our decisions, because I think that is the key. A lot of entrepreneurs, including me, have struggled with a big problem which is called micromanagement. And I think this particular thing, that decentralizing the decisions, is a big lesson for all of us. And I think we have to remind ourselves constantly to kind of trust the teams that we have created, trust the leaders that we want to create, and then, kind of take a feedback from them to build the venture. I just have one last question for you. It's kind of a question which will take you back in the journey, and which will also make you think about your future. I want to know 3 dreams that you have, uh, personal, professional, anything, uh, and 3 happiest moments of your life so far in this journey.
Wow, that's a big question. I think in terms of dreams would be that ReLove becomes the circular solution for the fashion industry. I think that is really my hope and dream. I want to see it everywhere. And I think the happiest day, wow, so far, I think there were a couple of days. One when I think got into tag. That was a very good moment because it was such a big personal achievement for me, and something that was so unachievable and difficult and very grueling as a process to sort of go through that process, and definitely my wedding.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I'm sure a lot of people who are hearing this will kind of be very, happy to know about your dream. And I hope all of us join with you uh, through ReLove to complete your dream. We are going to request audiences who've watched you. I've also covered a few questions which we already got from the audiences, but people who are watching it right now, if you have any questions for Kirti, please put them up in the chat. We are still going to be here around for next 5 to 7 minutes. So if you have any questions, please put your questions here, and we'll take it to her and we'll ask those questions to her. Till then, if you want to talk about anything else, Kirti, go ahead and please, um, talk to us about ReLove or anything that you want to talk about.
No, I want to ask you about your love for jewelry and how did Aadyaa start?
So, to answer the first part of your question, I'm going to be extremely honest with you. I am a completely no jewelry, no makeup, a completely not interested person in any of these. I've always been like that. Similar to you, I have done my computer engineering from Pune. And I worked as a SAP consultant for almost 9 years. Whatever happened with Aadyaa was complete coincidence. I just went with the flow. But one thing has always been common in both the careers that I've done, first SAP and then Aadyaa, that I love to work. I really, really get up in the morning and I really like to work. So I think that is something that has kept me going. And more than my love for jewelry, it was my love for uh, heritage and knowing history and reading about a lot of things that probably triggered Aadyaa, to kind of exist today. So that is one. Secondly, my other journey is pretty much like yours. I was in the UK on my SAP assignment. That's when I used to get a lot of time at hand. I started reading, looking at YouTube videos. I put them up on a Facebook page, which was a very, very novel idea in 2013. Nobody knew about selling on Facebook at that point. And by 2014, we had about 2.5 lakh people on Aadyaa, Aadya's Facebook page, without any kind of digital marketing, completely organic. That's when I quit my full-time career and I started doing Aadyaa.
So lovely to hear about that. And I must point out that that was even before the wave started of 2015. A lot of the brands were set up, but you were pre 2014, which means that you really grasped it earlier. You started when no one was doing this, right? So I think definitely something that was an early mover.
Absolutely. I mean, I also keep wondering a lot of times that where have I come? I never intended to start any kind of business. I never had any dream of starting anything of my own. Um, maybe I wanted to do something creative always. That has always been there. Um, but but no business plans as such. I just went with the flow.
So I just saw a question on the chat. It says, what is more important, an idea or capital or the market? What should you start with? And I will try to take a dig at that answer, and maybe you can take a dig at that answer. I feel ideas are so many, right? It doesn't matter. Five people may have the same idea and only one of them may succeed. So I would put very little focus on the idea. And idea is replicatable, right? Anyone else can do what you're doing. It is you and your initial team that you're setting up. And what are their capabilities, right? So if it is design or if it is marketing, I would look at all of those execution capabilities. What is the idea that you can actually execute? I think money also comes later. Like money comes 6 months down the line when you need money to actually deploy your idea. Till then, you don't need anything else. You just need yourself and your skills to match what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. There's another very interesting question, Kirti, by Sushmita, and she says that how do you manage your time between social media and your enterprise? I've learned a lot from you. So there's a compliment also, and there's a question also.
Wow, people tell me that I spend too much time on social media. Sorry, I'm going to charge my phone also now. Suddenly, all of this is happening. Um, so essentially, I try to post without thinking too much and without putting in too much of uh, effort also. So if you see most of my essentially just written on black story format and posted very organically, very quickly. Because if I started to design the posts, it would take a whole lot of time. And I don't have that bandwidth during the day to post, right? But a large part of the life today, which is during the lockdown, is being lived on social media. So, as a person who's running a business or trying to understand the pulse of the world right now, social media is your only way to understand what people are feeling, what are they buying, what are they doing. Like this weekend, everyone's away on a long weekend. So, one is that I don't put too much effort in it.
Yeah.
I'm more about just going with the flow. Um, and hence, like, my aim is not to become a big influencer. I'm just sharing.
There's another question by Vedanti, which says, when somebody from a humble background wants to start a venture, what
Hmm.
is the right way to fund your startup?
Okay. So, say you have an idea to make a product and sell it, right? Many people actually just make 5 pieces and then they try to sell those 5 pieces, right? Now, if your planning for the first 5 products is good, you will not go wrong and you will be able to sell them. If you are able to start like that, those 5 pieces and those 5,000 rupees can become 50 crore, right? But if your planning was not proper and you made a piece which did not sell, every time that happens, you will hit a roadblock where you will not be able to cross further because you've invested in something that will not sell. So I would say bootstrapping your way to at least getting to a sizable amount, especially in a product based business which does not attract venture capital money, right? Because passion is usually debt funded and you can reach a high amount just just by getting through by selling your product, right? The other way is to look at opportunities where friends and family contribute smaller amounts. Always be a little bit careful about that because if you fail, they all fail with you, and you have to do it once you can be very responsible for the money that you've raised.
Yeah. Absolutely, I completely agree with you, Kirti, on that point. Actually, Aadyaa also, so far, in our journey of almost 4.5 years of starting silver, and a few years before that, when I was doing all handmade jewelry by myself, we
Hmm.
actually have um, not been funded by anybody. It is completely bootstrapped from a 180 square feet studio to where we are right now, 4,500 square feet studio. It is completely sustained from the money that we put back in the business. Exactly as you said right now, whatever you sell, you get that, put that back into the business, procure from that, again put that back into the business. So I think that's the way to go, and I'm just so glad to hear that answer from you, because there's so many people like us who believe in putting that money back and sustaining the business and bootstrapping it. So, so thanks for that answer. I think we have addressed almost everything that was there on my mind. To sum it up, I think two things that I have really, really liked from everything that you have said is, one was just the latest one about about the idea of your venture. That was a lovely thing to hear. And second was decentralizing the decisions. So I think these are two amazing takeaways from your beautiful journey, Kirti. I would really, really thank you to be the first one to be part of this initiative. And I really hope to kind of talk to our tribe of people and generate a lot of hope for people who are trying to start their own businesses. Thank you so much for coming live with us and spending half an hour of your Sunday with us.
Thank you for doing this. I love the way everyone from the award Transforming India are supporting each other. I love the way our WhatsApp group is, standing up for each other. I think watching that is giving me more joy than the award itself. So very, very
Absolutely.
you for doing this, um, and really great respect for what you built.
Thank you, Kirti, for joining in, and I hope to see you very, very soon in Mumbai and connect with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.